Welcome to Physics Can Be Fun with me, Stephen Thomas. And today we are going to have so much fun. We're going to make a flamethrower and we're going to make it super simple, super cheap, and super awesome. And it's going to be super safe. So you kiddies, maybe you should get an adult to supervise you because it's super safe the way I do it. But if you get creative, it could go all pear-shaped very quickly. So let's have a quick look at how our flamethrower works. So what do you need to make your flamethrower? Well, you need one of these fire lighters, right? A normal fire lighter, and you need a bottle that's used to spray things in the garden, and I've put into the bottle methylated spirits, which you can buy like this, methylated spirits. So meth is a form of alcohol, and in this COVID pandemic, you often find these bottles are filled with hand sanitizer, which is over 70% alcohol, very flammable. You could use that, the hand sanitizer fluid, but I'm using methylated spirits. Now, do you need any special bottle? Well, I use these bottles with a round little spraying thing because you want your spray to come out in a solid stream, not as a puff of spray. It must be a solid stream. And with these spray bottles that have got a little round thing that screws off, you see it's completely round. These kind of sprayers give you a solid stream. As opposed to, look at this kind of spray bottle. It's got a square on-off sprayer, and it only sprays a spray. It doesn't spray a stream, or I think they call it a spritz. So you're going to get your bottle and you're going to turn this so that you turn it, if you're looking down the bottle, you turn it anti-clockwise so it's quite loose, and the more you turn it, it turns into a spray. But you don't want the spray, so you turn it clockwise, and so it's going to come out in a solid stream. And then all you're going to do is, as it comes out, you're going to spray it through the flame, and it's going to catch fire, and it's going to form that lovely ball of flame that you saw. So now I'm sure you're thinking, well, isn't that very unsafe? Well, not actually. So let's just show you. You've got your spray bottle. There's your spray bottle. You've got your little sprayer. And you've got your trigger. Something like that, and you're going to get a stream, and it's going to then come past your flame. So that's why you don't want it coming out and then you want it to just get the tip of the flame, and you're going to hold the fire lighter so in your other hand, and you're going to click the trigger. And then what actually happens is it's got all these little droplets, and they're moving fast away from the spray bottle, and they're kind of breaking up. But as these little droplets pass through the flame, some of them catch fire. And as they catch fire, it vaporizes, and the vapor forms into a sort of a fireball just around about here, quite far away, about 2 meters away from the sprayer. So what's happening is the little balls or little droplets are vaporizing, hit the flame begins to burn, it gets hot, it vaporizes better, and eventually it just forms a poof of flame. Isn't that fun? So what do I use it for? Well, I use it to start my braai or my barbecue. That's a whole lot of fun. It's a fun way to start a braai instead of these paraffin lighters. I use meths because it vaporizes and leaves no smell or taste on the wood, whereas these paraffin fire lighters, You have to let them burn away completely. And isn't this a lot more fun? And then I'm sure you can think of things you can do with a fire, with a flamethrower. So I'm going to show you how it works in the day from a balcony. And yeah, we can see it's not quite as impressive in the day, but you'll be able to see how it works better. So let's go and do it from the balcony. I feel we should talk a little bit about safety. So why don't I use just a normal cigarette lighter? Because you want to keep your hands dry. You want the flame to be far away from your hands. You don't want to get meths all over your hands, because what would happen if you got your hands wet? They could catch fire. So the meths only hits the tip of the fire lighter. So that's the first thing. You'd be dumb to do this with a cigarette lighter, because as I say, a cigarette lighter, you're going to get meths onto your hands, and then your hands are going to catch fire. But the tip of your fire lighter is made out of metal. It's perfectly safe. So never do it with anything but with one of these fire lighters. And then you've got also a stream coming out of the nozzle of your spray bottle, and it's the nozzle velocity is quite high, and the flame cannot burn back to the bottle. It burns quite slowly back along the stream of meths. So this liquid is flying out much faster than it can burn back. Now, if there was some way that it could burn back to this nozzle, it still couldn't get back into the bottle. But you obviously don't want a bottle that's dripping meths all over your hands. You want a bottle where it all stays completely dry, which most of these bottles do stay completely dry. I tried it with water pistols. They leak all over the place. So don't do it with a water pistol. These bottles work perfectly fine. And as I say, you have the stream that's going too fast for the flame to burn back. And even if the flame did burn back and it came to the nozzle, it would go out. It wouldn't be able to come and burn back through this nozzle, through the trigger mechanism and down into the bottle, because if it did burn into the bottle, obviously you'd have a huge problem. But it's completely prevented from doing so, because the flame, as you can see, burns. It starts to burn from where you have your fire lighter, and that's a long way from your spray bottle. And also, because of the velocity of the spray, the flame can never burn back fast enough to get back anywhere close to your bottle, anywhere close to the hand on the bottle. And like I say, if you're using your fire lighter, there's no flammable liquid coming anywhere near your hands. So obviously make sure that you don't spray your hands, or that your bottle or nothing is leaking. But I find this perfectly safe to do if you do it in the way that is prescribed. Just one further thing, meths burns with a flame that you often can't see, with a blue invisible flame. And if you're going to start pouring meths out of your bottle onto things in the yard or whatever, this is where kids don't know the physics behind this. If you were to open this bottle, right, and now you're going to start playing around, and you pour the meths out onto an open flame, the meths, as you pour it, now you're pouring it slowly out of the bottle onto the flame. It's going to burn right back into the bottle. It's going to go into the bottle. The whole bottle is going to catch fire, and it's going to shoot out of the bottle. If your face is in the way, it's going to get all over you. And I've seen this happen. When we were little kiddies, teenagers, we used to play with steam engines. And I remember my friend, he had a little trough or a little tray, like that you poured your meths into, and you used it in your steam engine, and he didn't know that the flame was still burning, because meths burns with an invisible flame. And he poured the bottle onto the still burning flame. It burned back into the bottle, and that's where I saw my first flamethrower. It went all the way down the driveway. It went about 10 meters down the driveway, and just luckily no one was standing in the way of it. So you don't want to mess around. Just do it the way the instructions that I've given you, and don't open the bottle, and don't play with meths. And if you do so, it's perfectly safe.